The espresso machine hissed like an angry beast in the corner of Cafe Romano, its steam rising in ghostly spirals that disappeared into the dim amber lighting. Elena Maria Cruz wiped her damp hands on the black apron cinched too tight around her waist, leaving dark streaks across the fabric. Her reflection in the polished chrome showed a woman she barely recognized anymore. Hollow cheeks, eyes shadowed by exhaustion no amount of concealer could hide. 36 years old and she looked 50. Her fourth double shift this week. The evidence lived in her aching feet, her burning shoulders, the way her hands trembled slightly when she lifted the coffee pot. But bills didn't care about exhaustion. The rent was due in 5 days. $1,200 she didn't have. Her mother's care facility had called twice this week about the overdue balance. $380. Might as well have been $3,000. Order up. Marco, the perpetually irritated chef, slammed the bell with unnecessary force. The sound cut through the dinner chatter like a blade. Elena flinched, but her feet were already moving. Muscle memory. Years of responding to that bell, that tone, that barely concealed contempt. She balanced the plates along her arms with practiced precision. Veal marsala for table 7. Risotto for table 3. The weight was familiar after 5 years of carrying other people's needs on her shoulders. The cafe smelled of garlic and butter and the lingering cologne of businessmen who thought their $5 tips were generous when they barely covered her bus fare home. Rain pattered against the tall windows, turning Chicago's October evening into a watercolor of streetlights and hurried shadows. Cars hissed past on wet pavement, pedestrians hunched under umbrellas, anonymous and rushing. Everyone with somewhere to be. Everyone except Elena, who lived in the space between tables, invisible except when someone needed their water refilled. This was her life, had been for 5 years. Wake at 5, work the morning shift at Sunrise Diner. 6 to 2, rush home, 40 minutes if the buses cooperated. Change clothes, back out by 3:30, Cafe Romano from 4 until midnight. Collapse into bed at 1 a.m., sleep 4 hours, repeat. Weekends she picked up catering gigs when available. Weddings, corporate events, anything that paid. 3 gym, 70 hours a week, and still drowning. Her phone buzzed in her apron pocket. She knew without looking. Another automated reminder from the care facility. Mom's room cost $1,800 a month. Basic care, nothing fancy, just a bed and nurses who checked on her twice a day. Maria Elena Cruz, 64 years old. Alzheimer's diagnosis 3 years ago. Progressive, irreversible. Most days she didn't recognize her own daughter. Elena had dropped out of nursing school to care for her. That was the plan. Save money, keep mom home, manage it themselves. But Alzheimer's wasn't manageable. Not alone, not while working. Mom had wandered out of the apartment twice. Once they found her 6 blocks away, barefoot, confused, asking for Elena's father, dead 10 years. The facility was necessary. The debt was crushing. Elena sent every spare dollar. It was never enough. Table 12 needs attention. Diane's voice cut through her thoughts. The senior waitress didn't bother looking up from her phone. 15 years at Cafe Romano had earned Diane certain privileges. The right to ignore customers. The right to claim the best tables. The right to treat younger waitresses like servants. Elena nodded, said nothing. She grabbed the water pitcher and crossed the dining room. Her body knew every inch of this space. The uneven floor tiles near table 4. The wobbly chair at table 9. The exact angle needed to slide past the businessman who always sat too far back. She'd learned to read this room, read people, survival skill from childhood, growing up with her mother's rotating boyfriends. Some kind, most not. Learning to sense mood shifts, to anticipate violence, to know when to make herself scarce. Those skills served her well here. She could tell which customers wanted conversation and which wanted silence, who would tip well and who would stiff her, who was having an affair and who was celebrating. Table 12, a couple. No wedding rings. The man checked his phone constantly. The woman picked at her salad, guilt eating. Elena had seen it 1,000 times. She refilled their water without comment. They didn't acknowledge her. Most people didn't. She'd perfected the art of useful invisibility. Her eyes drifted to table 15. The VIP booth in the corner. reserved every Tuesday, 8 o'clock sharp, except tonight it was 8:03 and still empty. Strange. The man who held that reservation was never late. Not once in 2 years. Dante Moretti. That was the name Marco used with reverence and barely concealed fear. Elena had never spoken to him beyond taking orders. Marco always handled the greeting personally, but she'd observed. That was her skill. Watching, noticing, seeing patterns others missed. Moretti came alone. Well, not alone. Two men always accompanied him. Security. They sat separately, but their eyes never stopped moving. Scanning, assessing. Moretti himself always ordered risotto. 1 glass of Barolo, never more. He sat with his back to the wall, never used his phone during dinner. Just sat with the stillness of someone comfortable with silence. She'd learned to read hands. His were scarred across the knuckles. Old wounds, working man's hands despite the expensive suits. He wore a gold ring on his right hand, not a wedding ring. Something else. Family crest, maybe. In his eyes. She'd only seen them once up close when she'd accidentally caught his gaze while refilling his water. Unusual color, light brown with flecks that caught the light. She'd looked away quickly. Something about those eyes made her nervous. 8:05. Marco emerged from the kitchen. Phone pressed to his ear. His face was tight with worry. He caught Elena's eye and gestured sharply toward table 15. She approached. "Mr. Moretti is running late." Marco's voice was low, urgent. "Traffic. When he arrives, you handle his table tonight. Understand?" Elena blinked. Marco never let anyone else serve that booth. "Me?" "Yes, you." Marco's grip on her arm was harder than necessary. "Whatever he wants. No delays, no mistakes, perfect service. Clear?" "Yes, of course." Elena pulled free gently. Marco disappeared back into the kitchen. Elena stared at the empty booth. Something was wrong. She could feel it. Pressure in the air. The quality of tension that made animals nervous before storms. 8:15. The front door opened. Cold October air rushed in. And with it, Dante Moretti. Everything about him was different tonight. Usually he moved with relaxed confidence. Tonight his jaw was clenched. His eyes swept the restaurant with sharp, assessing movements. The two bodyguards flanked him closer than usual, hands near their jackets, near weapons. Elena's throat went dry. She'd grown up around violence. Recognized the signs, the hypervigilance, the coiled readiness. Something had happened. Something bad enough to rattle a man who looked like he didn't rattle easily. Marco appeared, greeted him with forced cheer. Elena couldn't hear the exchange, but she saw Marco gesture toward the booth. Moretti's gaze followed. Then, for the first time, those unusual eyes found Elena across the room. The impact was physical. Amber. That was the color. Amber flecked with gold. Predator's eyes. They held her for 2 seconds. 3. Cataloging. Memorizing. Then he was moving toward the booth, and Elena realized her heart was hammering. She forced herself steady, grabbed a menu he wouldn't need, crossed to table 15 on legs that felt uncertain. Professional smile, practiced voice, the armor she wore every shift. "Good evening, Mr. Moretti. Welcome to Cafe Romano." Her voice came out level. "Can I start you with something to drink?" He looked up, really looked at her. Not the dismissive glance most customers gave. He studied her face, her eyes, like he was committing her features to memory. "Your name." Not a question, a command delivered quietly. "Elena, sir." She kept her posture professional. "Elena Cruz." Elena. He pronounced it fully. 3 syllables, Elena, the way her grandmother used to say it, not the abbreviated Ellie everyone else used. "I need wine tonight. Your oldest Barolo. The bottle Marco reserves for special occasions." Elena hesitated. "That bottle cost $800. I'll need to check if we still have it available, sir. Tell Marco it's for me. He'll know." She nodded and retreated, feeling those eyes follow her across the room. The weight of his attention was different from the usual male gaze she deflected. This wasn't objectification. This was assessment, calculation. It made her skin prickle. Marco intercepted her before she reached the bar, grabbed her elbow, pulled her aside. "Whatever he wants, he gets, no hesitation. Understand?" He asked for the reserve Barolo. Marco's face went pale. "Then bring it. Best glass. Perfect pour. And Elena. His grip tightened. Don't stare. Don't ask questions. Just serve and stay professional. Who is he? The question escaped before she could stop it. Marco's laugh held no humor. Someone who could buy this entire block and turn it to ash. Someone you don't want to cross. Now go. He released her. Disappeared. Elena stood processing. She'd known Moretti was dangerous, connected. But the fear in Marco's eyes suggested something more. Real power. The kind that made people terrified. She descended to the wine cellar. Found the Barolo, 1997, dust coating the bottle. She carried it upstairs with both hands. At the bar, she showed Marco. He nodded tersely. She uncorked it, poured a small amount, let it breathe. The deep burgundy liquid caught the light. She carried it to table 15 on a tray. Moretti was on his phone, speaking Italian. Fast, angry, though his face showed nothing. He ended the call as she approached, set the phone down with deliberate care. Your Barolo, sir. She placed the glass before him. He lifted it, swirled, inhaled, tasted. His eyes closed briefly. When they opened, something had softened fractionally. Excellent. Thank you, Elena Cruz. He set the glass down. How long have you worked here? 5 years, sir. You're observant. Statement, not question. Elena's breath caught. How did he know? I try to anticipate needs, sir. It's more than that. His voice dropped lower. You watch everyone. Read body language. Notice patterns. Survival instinct. Am I right? Heat crept up her neck. She'd been so careful. Part of good service, sir. It's something deeper. He studied her. You've spent your life learning to read dangerous situations, to know when trouble's coming. His head tilted slightly. Who taught you that? Elena couldn't breathe. This stranger was seeing through her in seconds, peeling back her carefully constructed invisibility. Is there anything else I can get you? Professional deflection. The only defense she had. Moretti studied her another long moment, then picked up the menu. The risotto, same as always. And Elena, his gaze locked onto hers. Stay alert tonight. Something feels wrong. Before she could ask what he meant, the front door burst open. 3 men, dark clothes, ski masks, guns, time fractured. A woman screamed, table 3, glass shattered. Diane's dropped tray. The lead gunman's weapons swept the room. Everyone on the floor. Now. Bodies dropped, customers, staff. Everyone except Elena, frozen behind Moretti's booth. Everyone except Moretti himself, who remained seated with unnatural stillness. The gunman stalked forward, weapon trained, voice flat, dead. Moretti, finally. Moretti didn't move. His hands stayed visible on the table. His voice was ice. Rossi doesn't have the courage to face me himself. Has to send animals. Animals that are going to kill you. The gunman raised his weapon, pointed at Moretti's head. 8 feet. Perfect angle. Rossi sends his regards. Elena saw it in slow motion, the finger tightening on the trigger. Moretti's bodyguards reaching for weapons. Too slow. Too far. The trajectory of the bullet. Her body moved before conscious thought, before fear, before reason. Instinct. Pure. Simple. The same instinct that had protected her sister from their mother's violent boyfriend. The same instinct that had pulled her father's coworker from machinery's path. See danger. Stop danger. Protect. She lunged, hit Moretti with her full weight, drove him sideways. The gunshot was deafening. Fire erupted in her left shoulder, white hot, molten iron driving through muscle and bone. The world tilted. Her legs failed. She fell. The ceiling spun. Acoustic tiles, exposed beams, spinning. More gunshots, thunder, shouts, furniture crashing, running feet, glass breaking. Through it all, Elena lay on the floor watching red bloom across her white blouse. Watched it spread. So much blood. So warm. So bright against white. Then a face appeared above her. Moretti. Features transformed by rage so pure it seemed to burn. Gone was the controlled businessman. Something ancient and terrible looked through those eyes now. He barked orders in Italian. Rapid. Commanding. His hands were on her face, her neck. Checking pulse. Those scarred hands were gentle despite his fury. Elena. He said her name like prayer and cursed together. Why would you do that? Stupid, brave girl. She tried to answer, wanted to explain the instinct she didn't understand, but her mouth filled with copper. She coughed, tasted blood. Don't speak. His thumb brushed her cheekbone, tender despite the murder in his eyes. Help is coming. Stay with me. Do you understand? Stay with me. Around them, the gunfight continued. Moretti's men engaging the attackers. The lead gunman was down, blood pooling, the other two fighting toward the exit, civilians screaming behind overturned tables. Elena tried to focus on Moretti's face, used it as anchor against the darkness. His jaw was tight, muscle jumping in his cheek, fury and something else. Fear? Impossible. Men like him didn't fear. What's your full name? He kept his voice steady. Medical training, maybe. Keep the victim conscious. Elena. Barely a whisper. Elena Maria Cruz. Elena Maria Cruz. He repeated it like a vow. I won't forget. I will burn this city to the ground if you leave me now. Do you understand? I will destroy everything if you die. She didn't understand. He was a stranger. Why would he care? Sirens wailed, growing closer. The gunfight ended. Someone shouting into a phone. Medical, federal, teams converging. Moretti pressed his forehead to hers, breath mingling. She could feel his heartbeat. Strong, fast, controlled. I've got you. Whisper meant only for her. You're safe, I promise. You saved my life and I swear I will keep you safe. This is my vow. You're mine now, mine to protect. Do you understand? Elena didn't understand, couldn't process the possession in his voice. The absolute certainty. The darkness won, pulled her under. Her last sensation was his lips against her forehead. Benediction, claiming, his words following her into black. I've got you, you're mine, Sean. Fragments. Puzzle pieces scattered. Bright lights, fluorescent. Harsh. Voices, urgent. Professional. Surgery. Critical. Stable. Cold. Shivering despite blankets. A hand holding hers. Warm. Anchoring. Then nothing. Deep void. Dreamless. She surfaced slowly, like swimming up from dark ocean depths. Sound came first. Beeping, steady, rhythmic. Then sensation, softness beneath her. Sheets, pillow, weight on her left side. Heavy, wrong. Elena forced her eyes open. Ceiling, white, unfamiliar, not hospital. Too ornate, crown molding, recessed lighting. She tried to sit. Pain exploded through her shoulder. White hot, blinding. A gasp tore from her throat. Movement to her right, fast. A figure rising. Don't move. Moretti's voice, rough with exhaustion. You'll tear the stitches. Lena turned her head carefully. Moretti stood beside the bed. He looked wrecked. 2 days stubble, clothes wrinkled, eyes bloodshot, dark circles beneath. Where? Her voice was a rasp. He reached for water, held it to her lips, small sips. The water was heaven. She drank until he pulled it away. Where am I? Stronger now. My home. Private medical wing. You've been unconscious for 3 days. 3 days, the words didn't make sense. You were shot. He set the water down. You pushed me aside and took a bullet meant for me. Do you remember? Memories crashed back. The restaurant. The gunmen. The moment of instinct. I remember. She closed her eyes. That was stupid. That was the bravest thing I've ever witnessed. His voice carried an edge she couldn't identify. You saved my life without hesitation, without thought for yourself. It was instinct. Elena opened her eyes. I didn't think, exactly. Something fierce in his gaze. Split-second instinct reveals true character. And yours, Elena Maria Cruz, is extraordinary. I'm not extraordinary. I'm a waitress with debt and a bullet hole. Not anymore. He pulled the chair closer. Sat. Your old life is gone. The men who shot you were sent by Victor Rossi, rival who wants me dead. Now he knows your face, knows you intervened. In his mind, you're connected to me, which makes you a target. Terror spiked. My mother, my sister, already handled. His voice was firm. Your mother has been moved to Sunrise Premium Care, best facility in Illinois, 24-hour nursing, all expenses covered. Your sister Sarah has security watching her. Discreet, she won't be touched. You have my word. Elena stared. He'd done all this while she was unconscious? Waitress, you saved my life. Simple answer. That creates a debt I can never repay. But I'll spend my life trying. I didn't ask for this. Her voice broke. Any of this. I know. Unexpected softness. And I'm sorry, but we don't choose when our lives change. Sometimes change chooses us. A bullet chose you 3 days ago. Tears burned. She blinked them back. What happens now? Now you have options, 3 of them. I'll explain when you're stronger. For now, rest. Heal. The doctor says full recovery takes 6 weeks minimum. 6 weeks without work, without income. Everything would fall apart. As if reading her mind, Moretti spoke. Your bills are handled. Rent paid 6 months advance. Student loans current. Your mother's old facility balance cleared. Consider it payment for the debt I owe. She should be grateful. Felt trapped instead. I can't accept this. You already have. He stood, smoothed his shirt. Rest. We'll talk when you're stronger. You're safe here. That's what matters. He walked to the door, stopped, turned. For what it's worth, I don't think of you as a stranger anymore. You saw me at my most vulnerable. Saw past reputation and fear. In that moment, you saw a human being worth saving. That makes you rare. Precious. He left. The door closed softly. Elena lay in the unfamiliar bed. Outside, Chicago glittered in afternoon sun. Beautiful, distant, belonging to a world she could no longer access. She'd saved a man's life and lost her own in the process. Not death. Something stranger. She'd become a stranger to herself. The monitor beeped. Steady, rhythmic. Proof of life. Proof she'd survived. But survival was just the beginning. The real question was what came next, and whether she was strong enough to face it. Days blurred together in the medical wing of Dante Moretti's home. Elena drifted between waking and sleeping, consciousness and morphine-hazed dreams where bullets moved in slow motion and unfamiliar eyes watched from shadows. Each time she surfaced, he was there, sitting in the leather chair by her bed, reading, working on a laptop, sometimes just watching her with an expression she couldn't decipher. On the 4th day, true clarity returned. Elena woke to find sunlight streaming through gauze curtains, painting everything in soft gold. The pain in her shoulder had dulled from screaming agony to persistent throb. Progress. She could think clearly for the first time since the shooting. A woman stood at the window, mid-50s, silver threaded through dark hair pulled into an elegant twist, tailored black dress, the kind of understated expensive that spoke of old money. You're awake. The woman turned, professional smile, not unkind. I'm Olivia. I manage Mr. Moretti's household. How are you feeling? Like I got shot. Lena's voice was rough from disuse. Accurate assessment. Olivia moved to the bed, checked the IV line with practiced efficiency. Medical background, Elena noted. The doctor will be pleased you're coherent. You've been quite out of it. How long exactly? 4 days since the shooting. Surgery took 8 hours. You were in recovery for 2 days. This is day 4. You've been conscious but not coherent until now. Olivia adjusted the bed angle, making Elena more comfortable. Mr. Moretti has been quite concerned. He hasn't left the house. Elena processed that. A man who clearly ran a criminal empire had stayed home for 4 days. Because of her. The weight of that obligation settled heavy. I need to call my mother. Panic rose. She'll be worried. Her Alzheimer's. When I don't visit, she gets confused. Scared, already arranged. Olivia's calm never wavered. Mr. Moretti had your mother transferred to Sunrise Premium Care the day of your surgery. Your sister Sarah was notified you'd been in an accident and needed recovery time. She visits your mother daily. Everyone believes you're recuperating at a friend's house. He thought of everything. Elena didn't know whether to feel grateful or terrified. Probably both. Mr. Moretti is thorough. Olivia's expression gave nothing away. When you're strong enough, he'd like to discuss your future, But first, physical therapy starts today. Today, I can barely move, which is why we start now. Waiting makes recovery harder. Olivia pressed a button. A young man appeared. Dark hair, kind eyes. Athletic build barely contained by scrubs. This is Carlos, your physical therapist. He'll work with you twice daily until you regain full mobility. Carlos approached with easy confidence. Morning, Elena. Heard you're tough. That's good. We'll need tough for the next few weeks. What happened to taking it easy? Elena tried for humor, despite the dread. Taking it easy gets you frozen shoulder and permanent damage. Carlos pulled up a stool, sat at her level. Respectful. We start small. Today's goal is sitting up independently. Tomorrow, standing. By next week, walking. 6 weeks from now, 70 to 80% mobility restored. And the other 20% might come back, might not. Gunshot wounds are unpredictable, but I've seen worse heal completely. Your age works in your favor. I need my arms. Both of them. Full strength. Elena's voice was firm. I'm a waitress. Was a waitress. I can't afford permanent disability. Then we work hard. Carlos stood, extended his hand. Let's start. Take my hand. We'll get you sitting. The next hour was agony. Every movement sent lightning through her shoulder. Sitting up required 3 attempts and left her sweating and nauseous. But Carlos was patient, encouraging. By the end, she was upright, legs dangling, breathing hard but victorious. That's day 1. Carlos grinned. Tomorrow we stand. You're going to hate me for about 2 weeks. Then you'll thank me. After he left, exhaustion crashed over Elena, but she'd sat up. Under her own power, small victory, she'd take it. Olivia returned with lunch. Real food, soup and bread and fruit, not hospital paste. Elena ate slowly, savoring the normalcy. Through the window, she could see manicured gardens, high stone walls beyond. No view of streets, no sense of where in Chicago she actually was. Where is this place exactly? She asked between bites. Lincoln Park. Olivia collected the empty dishes. The house has been in the Moretti family for 3 generations. 15 bedrooms. This wing was added 10 years ago when Mr. Moretti's father was ill. Full medical capabilities. By other people who got shot? Olivia's expression didn't change. By people who needed care and discretion. Mr. Moretti values loyalty. Those loyal to him receive his protection. All forms of it, including medical care after saving his life. Especially then. Olivia moved toward the door. Rest now. Mr. Moretti will visit this evening. He has important matters to discuss with you. After she left, Elena lay back carefully, stared at the ceiling. Important matters. About what? About why she jumped in front of a bullet for a stranger? She didn't have a good answer for that herself. She must have dozed because the next thing she knew, the room was dim with evening light, and Dante Moretti sat in his chair watching her. You're awake. He closed the book in his lap. How was therapy? Terrible. Elena shifted, trying to sit. Failed. Her shoulders screamed. Moretti was there immediately, hand behind her back, supporting without taking over. Careful of the injury. He adjusted pillows until she was comfortable. Carlos says you push through the pain. That's good. Recovery requires that kind of strength. Recovery requires having something to recover for. Elena met his gaze. Which brings us to whatever Olivia said we need to discuss. Direct. Something almost like approval in his expression. Most people dance around uncomfortable topics with me. You don't. Maybe I'm too tired to dance. Or maybe you're honest by nature. He leaned forward, elbows on knees, making the conversation intimate despite the tension. I need to know why, Elena, why you pushed me, why you risked your life for a stranger. I told you. Instinct. Instinct has roots. His gaze never wavered. You weren't afraid in that moment. I saw your face. Determination. Purpose. Like you'd made this choice 1,000 times before. So I'll ask differently. Who did you protect before me? Elena's throat tightened. How did he see so much? How did he cut through her defenses like they were paper? My father. The words came out quiet. He worked in a factory, heavy machinery, dangerous conditions. I was 16 when a coworker froze on the line. Machine malfunction. Dad pushed him out of the way, took the hit himself. She paused, remembering, crushed his arm, never worked again. He died 3 years later, complications from the injury. But he saved that man's life, and I learned that's what you do. You protect people, even when it costs you. Moretti absorbed this in silence. Then my father taught me the opposite. That power comes from letting others take risks, from staying safe while soldiers fight your battles. I hated that lesson. Still do. Is that what those men were? Elena asked carefully. Your soldiers? Some. Others were there by choice. Loyalty, respect, not fear. His jaw tightened. 3 of them died protecting the restaurant that night. Their families will be cared for. Forever. That's the oath I made to them. How many people have died because of you? She shouldn't ask, shouldn't push, but something in his honesty demanded equal honesty. Too many to count. He didn't flinch. I've killed, ordered killing, built an empire on violence and fear. I'm not a good man, Elena. You need to understand that. What I am, what I do. Then why am I here? Why not just pay my bills and let me go? Because you make me want to be better. The raw admission hung between them. You looked at me and saw someone worth saving. Not the reputation, not the fear, just a man about to die. And you acted. That kind of purity is rare. I can't just let you walk back into danger because I failed to protect you. I'm not your responsibility. Yes, he said it with absolute certainty. You are. The moment you took that bullet, you became mine to protect. I don't take that lightly. There was that word, mine, possessive, claiming. It should have frightened her. Instead, it stirred something complicated she didn't want to examine. Olivia said you have options for me. Elena changed direction. What are they? Moretti sat back, pulled 3 folders from the side table, set them on the bed, red, blue, black. Option 1, red folder, witness protection, FBI program. New identity, new city. Your mother comes with you. Full relocation. You disappear completely. Start over. Elena opened the folder. Official documents, federal seals. This was real. I'd never come back, never see Chicago again, never. Anyone you knew here would think you dead or disappeared. It's the safest option. Complete separation from my world. And you just let me go? Elena watched his face. Something flickered. Pain. Quickly masked. I'd let you go. Your safety matters more than my preference. She set the red folder aside. Option 2, blue folder. Protection program. You stay under my custody. Safe house or here. 24-hour security. You wait until Rossi is eliminated. Could be weeks. Could be months. Your mother receives top care. You'd be safe. But trapped. Elena opened the blue folder. Legal documents, contracts, stipulations, protected. Moretti corrected gently. There's a difference. Is there? When the cage is pretty, it's still a cage. He nodded slowly. Fair point. Which brings us to option 3. He tapped the black folder, the one I hope you'll choose. Elena picked it up. Heavier than the others. Employment agreement. Personal assistant. $150,000 a year. Full benefits, housing, security, training. You want me to work for you? I want you to be part of my organization. Legitimate operations. You'd help manage legal businesses, real estate, restaurants, security consulting. I need someone I trust, someone who sees patterns others miss. You have that skill. I'm a waitress. I have no qualifications. You saved my life without hesitation. That's the only qualification that matters. Moretti leaned forward. I'm transitioning away from violence, toward legitimate enterprise. But I'm surrounded by people who think in old patterns. I need fresh eyes, honest assessment, someone who'll tell me truth even when it's uncomfortable. Why would I do that? Why stay in your world voluntarily? Because leaving means running forever or hiding forever. Red or blue, both steal your life. Black folder lets you reclaim it. Different than before. But yours, active. You'd have agency, power, protection, and your family would be cared for beyond anything you could provide working 3 jobs. Elena read through the contract carefully. Every clause, every stipulation, it was generous, almost too generous. But one section made her pause. Termination clause. Either party can end this with 90 days notice. If I terminate, protection continues 6 months. If situation becomes unsafe, immediate relocation available. She looked up. You'd really let me leave? I'd really let me leave. His voice was steady. I won't hold you prisoner. Obligation only works if freely given. I want your loyalty, your trust. Can't force those. Can only earn them. And if I choose red or blue, walk away now, then I respect that. Make it happen. Never contact you again. His hands clenched briefly. Relaxed. But you'd lose the chance to be something more than you were. To use your skills. To build real security for your family. That's the trade. Elena stared at the 3 folders. 3 futures. 3 versions of herself. The woman who ran. The woman who hid. The woman who fought. She thought of her father. How he'd pushed that coworker to safety. How he'd chosen courage over caution. She thought of her mother fading into fog but sometimes surfacing to ask if Elena was happy. Was she living or just surviving? She thought of the moment in the restaurant. The clarity, the absolute certainty that moving was right. Even at cost, maybe especially at cost. I need time. Elena closed the black folder. This is too big to decide now. Give me a week. Disappointment crossed his face, followed by respect. Fair. 1 week. He stood, gathered the folders. But Elena, whatever you choose, I'll honor it. You have my word. After he left, Elena lay in growing darkness. Outside, Chicago glittered. Somewhere in those lights was the woman she'd been 4 days ago. Exhausted, broke, invisible. That woman was gone. The question was, who would take her place? The week passed in strange routine. Physical therapy every morning and evening. Carlos pushed her through exercises that left her cursing. But progress came. By day 3, she could stand. By day 5, walk the room's length. By day 7, her shoulder moved through 70% of normal range. Weak, painful, but functional. Between sessions, she met the household. Marcus, Dante's nephew, head of security, late 20s, sharp eyes that assessed everything. He treated her with wary respect. My uncle doesn't bring people here. Marcus studied her during their introduction. Especially not outsiders. You must be special. I took a bullet, that's all. That's everything. Marcus's expression was serious. In our world, loyalty like that is rare, worth more than gold. Vincent followed, tech specialist, early 30s, American accent beneath the Italian surname, MIT graduate who'd chosen crime over Silicon Valley. Welcome to the madness. He showed her the security systems, every angle covered, every approach monitored. Impressive setup, right? I designed it myself. It's thorough. Elena studied the screens. Thorough keeps us alive. Vincent pulled up files. Speaking of which, I ran your background. Standard procedure. Hope you don't mind. Elena stiffened. That's invasive. That's survival. His tone was matter of fact. Had to verify you weren't a plant. Rossi's backup plan. His expression softened slightly. For what it's worth, you're the most boring person I've ever investigated. No secrets, no angles. Just a woman working herself to death for her family. In our world, that's rare, valuable. Thomas came next. The elder statesman, early 60s, silver hair, expensive suits. He'd been with Dante's father. Knew where bodies were buried, literal and figurative. You remind me of someone. Thomas studied her during their brief meeting. Dante's mother, she had your eyes, your directness. She was the only person who could tell his father no. We need someone like that again. I'm not here to tell anyone no. Elena protested. Give it time. Thomas smiled slightly. You will be. And Olivia. Always Olivia. Managing, coordinating, the steel spine holding everything together. She was kind, but never soft. Helpful, but never warm. You're wondering about my role. Olivia said it during one of their conversations. I manage everything Dante doesn't want to think about. Household, schedules, personnel. I've been with this family 20 years. Watched Dante grow from angry teenager to the man he is now. You care about him, Elena observed, like a son. Olivia's expression softened fractionally. His father was hard, violent, Dante had to become harder to survive. But underneath, he's still the boy who cried at his mother's funeral, who wanted to be an architect instead of a criminal. You're good for him. You remind him that gentleness isn't weakness. Dante visited every evening. Sometimes they talked business. He explained operations with surprising transparency. The legitimate ventures, the gray areas, the criminal enterprises he was working to phase out. This is the future, he showed her spreadsheets one night. Profit margins, growth projections. 5 years from now, 80% of revenue will be legitimate. 10 years, maybe 95. Why the change? Elena studied the numbers. My father's death. Dante leaned back, wine in hand. He died violently, betrayed by someone he trusted. I looked at his body and thought, this is where the path leads. I was 30. I could follow that path or forge a different one. He met her eyes. Then you happened. You saw someone worth saving. Made me wonder if maybe I was. You're putting a lot weight on a split-second decision. That split second said more about your character than 1,000 calculated choices. Dante set down his glass. You make me want to be worthy of being saved, Elena. That's rare. Heat crept into her cheeks. She looked away, focused on the spreadsheets. Other nights they talked about nothing. Books, Chicago, weather, small talk that felt like getting to know someone rather than debriefing an asset. She learned he'd wanted to study architecture, that his mother had died when he was 14, that he played chess and preferred quiet evenings to the chaos of his days. On the sixth night, he brought dinner. Real dinner. 2 plates of pasta carbonara, wine. Set it up by the window. Carlos cleared you for solid food. Thought we'd celebrate. He poured wine into crystal glasses. This is nice, Elena joined him. Almost normal. Almost. Dante's smile was wry. If you ignore everything else. There is that. Elena tasted the pasta. Perfect. How did you learn to cook? My mother, she insisted men in the family know how to feed themselves. Said depending on others for basic needs made you weak. His expression shadowed. She died when I was 14. Cancer. My father never recovered. Threw himself into violence. I think he wanted to follow her. Just took 20 years. I'm sorry. Elena meant it. He was a hard man, not a good man. But he taught me to honor debts, to protect family, to keep my word above all else. Those lessons stuck. Do you have siblings? One brother. Lives in Italy, runs operations there. We talk twice a year. He thinks I'm too soft. I think he's stuck in old patterns. We agree to disagree. And no wife. Elena said it casually. Dante's expression shuddered. Once, Isabella, she was a teacher, elementary school. We met at a charity event. She didn't know who I was, what I did. We dated 6 months before she found out. What happened? She left. Couldn't reconcile the man she knew with the reputation. He met Elena's eyes. You remind me of her sometimes, the way you see people. But you're braver. You didn't run when you saw what I was. I got shot before I could run. You saved my life before you could run. Different thing. He set down his glass. Tomorrow is day 7. Have you decided? Elena had spent the week weighing options, imagining futures, testing each path. I have. She met his gaze. I choose the black folder. Dante went still. You're sure? No, Elena's honesty surprised even herself. I'm terrified. This could be the worst decision I've ever made. But running or hiding isn't living. It's surviving. I've survived my whole life. Maybe it's time to actually live. Something fierce blazed in his expression. Relief, triumph, something deeper. You won't regret this. I might. And Elena held his gaze. But it'll be my choice. My risk. That matters. It matters to me too. Dante pulled out his phone. Within minutes, Olivia appeared with the contract. Thomas and Marcus witnessed. Elena read it one final time, then signed. Her hand was steady. Welcome to the family. Dante's voice carried weight. This isn't just employment. This is oath. You are under my protection now. Anyone who harms you answers to me. And if I want to leave in 90 days, then you leave. With my blessing and continued protection. His expression softened. I meant it. This only works if you choose it. Every day. After they left, Dante produced a small velvet box. opened it to reveal a gold ring. Ruby center, delicate filigree, old, valuable. Everyone in my inner circle wears a symbol. This ring identifies you as under my protection. Anyone in our world will recognize it. Elena took the ring, studied it. Beautiful, deadly, both at once. She slipped it onto her right hand. The metal was warm, the fit perfect. How did you know my size? I observed too. Dante's smile held secrets. That night, Elena stood at the window long after he left. The ring caught city lights. She was marked now, claimed, part of something larger and more dangerous than she'd imagined. But she was also something she'd never been. Chosen, valued, seen. Elena Maria Cruz had died on Cafe Romano's floor. This woman, this new version, she was something else entirely. What exactly she'd discover in the days to come. But for tonight, she was alive, healing, free to choose her path, even if that path led into darkness. Even if the man offering his hand was as dangerous as he was compelling. She'd made her choice. Now she'd live with the consequences. The first week of Elena's new life unfolded with surprising structure. If structure could describe learning criminal operations while recovering from a gunshot wound, Carlos continued therapy with relentless cheerfulness. By week 2, Elena could lift her arm above shoulder height. By week 3, the sling came off. The scar tissue was tight, pink, angry, but functional. Marcus began her real education on day 8. He appeared at 6 a.m., black coffee in hand. Training starts now, comfortable clothes, meet me in the gym in 10 minutes. The gym occupied the entire basement. Professional equipment, mats, heavy bags, a small boxing ring. Marcus stood center mat, arms crossed. You don't need to win fights. He started without preamble. You need to survive long enough to escape. That's what I'm teaching. Survival. For 2 hours, he drilled basics. Pressure points, how to break holds, where to strike to cause maximum pain with minimum strength. Elena's shoulder protested. She pushed through. Pain was just information. Her father had taught her that. You analyze instead of panic, Marcus said at the end. Most people freeze when grabbed. You calculate. Find weakness. That's instinct. Can't teach you that. My father's factory. You learned to think fast or you died. Smart man. Marcus handed her water. We train every morning, 6 a.m., no exceptions. Afternoons belonged to Vincent. He taught surveillance, how to spot cameras, detect listening devices, communicate securely. His world was digital, encrypted, paranoid in ways that made sense once he explained. Everyone has secrets. He showed her how to sweep rooms for bugs. The trick is knowing which secrets matter, which get people killed. How do you decide? Context, leverage. Who benefits? Vincent leaned against the desk. In this world, information is currency, more valuable than money. What information do you have on me? Everything. He didn't apologize. Full background within an hour of your arrival, family history, employment, financial status, medical history, elementary school report cards. That's invasive. That's survival. Dante needs to know who he's trusting. You could have been Rossi's plant. Backup plan. We had to verify. And what did you find? That you're boring in the best way. No criminal record, no suspicious associations, no hidden accounts, just a woman working herself to death for family. In our world, that's rare, valuable. Evenings remained Dante's time. He'd arrive at 7 with dinner. They'd eat together, talk about her progress, sometimes business. He was teaching her legitimate operations, real estate, restaurant investments, security consulting firms. This is the future. He showed spreadsheets, growth projections. 5 years from now, 80% legitimate revenue. What made you decide to change? Elena asked. My father's death. He died violently, predictably. I looked at his body and thought, this is the end result. I was 30. I could follow that path or forge different. Pause. Then you happened. Made me wonder if change was actually possible. That's a lot of weight on one moment. That moment revealed your character, made me want to be worthy. He met her eyes. You make me want to be better, Elena. Week 4 brought her first real assignment. Dante called her to his office. Marcus and Thomas already there. Maps on the desk. We have a problem. Dante indicated photographs. Distribution center, south side. Numbers don't match. Supplies ordered versus delivered. Consistent discrepancy 3 months. Theft? Elena studied documents. Every shipment, 30 units short. Never more. Never less. That's our assumption. Thomas nodded. But we need proof, need to know who, whether it's theft or Rossi's infiltration. I want you to audit the facility. Dante met her eyes. Full inspection, inventory, records, personnel, fresh eyes, no preconceptions. You might see what we missed. When? Tomorrow. Marcus will accompany you for security. But you lead. Your assessment, your call. The distribution center squatted in an industrial area, massive, 40,000 square feet. The supervisor met them. Boris, 50s, Eastern European accent. His eyes narrowed at Elena. The boss sends auditor? He looked her up and down. You? Problem with that? Marcus's voice carried warning. No problem, Boris stepped aside. What you need, shipment records. 6 months. Physical inventory. And I want to inspect random samples from each active shipment. Elena kept her voice professional. Authoritative. Elena spent 4 hours cross-referencing, checking serial numbers, testing weights. Her waitress background had taught attention to detail. Those skills translated. Shipment 847C, medical supplies. Origin Titan Medical. Elena's instincts pinged. She checked the manifest. Bandages, antiseptic, IV bags, 1,000 units listed. Physical count matched. But something felt wrong. She selected 10 bags, weighed them. Each should weigh 200 grams, 9 correct. One weighed 185. Elena's breath caught. She opened the light bag, poured liquid onto a test strip. Wrong color, wrong composition. Marcus, her voice was calm despite racing heart. I need hazmat team, now. This entire shipment is contaminated. What? Boris appeared, face pale. When did this arrive? 3 days ago. Marcus was already calling backup. Elena examined bags carefully. Systematic contamination. If these had been distributed, hundreds poisoned. Who handled this specifically? Boris checked his tablet, hands shaking. Grigori, he unload, he stock. Boris stopped, eyes wide. He not here today. Called sick. First time in 3 years. Address. Marcus's command wasn't a request. They found Grigori 4 hours later. Dead, single bullet, execution style. His apartment cleaned, professional. But Vincent's team found something. Hidden USB drive. Emails. Vincent pulled up files. Correspondence between Grigori and unknown party. Encrypted, but I can crack it. That hour Elena spent in Dante's office watching him process the news. The contamination. The attempted mass poisoning. The dead employee. His face showed nothing, but his hands gripped the desk. White-knuckled. He was going to kill hundreds. Dante's voice was flat. Hospitals, clinics, elderly facilities. Didn't matter, as long as it hurt me. This is because of the restaurant, Elena said quietly. Because I stopped his first attempt. This is because Rossi is rabid. Dante met her eyes, and you stopped him twice. The restaurant. Now this. He'll escalate. Target you directly. I need to move you somewhere safe while we end this. No. Lena surprised herself with firmness. You trusted me with real work. I found the contamination. Proved I can contribute. Don't bench me because it's dangerous. It's always dangerous. Dante studied her. Something shifted. Not quite a smile. Something fiercer. You're right. Benching you would be insult. But understand, Rossi will come for you. Directly. Violently. Can you handle that? Elena thought about the restaurant, the bullet, the training with Marcus, the knowledge Vincent had given her. I can handle it, she held his gaze. But I want more training. If he's coming, I want to be ready. Dante nodded. Then we prepare. Everything Marcus and Vincent can teach. He stood, came around the desk, stopped close. Elena, thank you for finding the contamination, for stopping it. You saved lives today. Many lives, just doing my job. Your job is spreadsheets. This is pause. Partnership. Real partnership. His hand moved to her face, cupped her cheek. That's equality. They stood frozen, the space between them charged with something Elena didn't want to name. This was her boss, her protector. Getting involved would complicate everything. She stepped back. His hand fell. Neither acknowledged the moment. I should rest. Early training tomorrow. Elena moved toward the door. You've been proving yourself since we met. Dante's voice followed her. I'm just catching up. Vincent broke the encryption by midnight. Emergency meeting. Everyone assembled. The emails traced to Eastern Europe server. Vincent pulled up screenshots, but routing suggests local origin. Someone here coordinating with Grigori, payments in cryptocurrency, instructions for contamination. And here, he highlighted a section, references to warehouse, to schedules, to security rotations. Inside information. We have a mole. Marcus said it. Thomas studied documents. This level of detail takes time. Observation. Trust. Whoever it is has been embedded months, maybe years. Dante's expression was stone. Narrow it down. Everyone with access. Cross-reference with financial records. Look for sudden wealth. Anything unusual. The list took 2 hours, 8 names, people who knew operations, schedules, suppliers, people Dante trusted. Elena studied the names. Something nagged. A pattern she couldn't articulate. Boris, she said suddenly. He knew Grigori personally. Recommended him 3 years ago, and when I asked about the shipment, he went pale. Really pale before he knew what was wrong. Fear of discovery? Marcus leaned forward. Or genuine shock? Could be either. Elena pulled up Boris's file. But look, large deposit 6 months ago. 40,000. Explanation says inheritance from Russian aunt. But she checked another screen. No travel to Russia. No communication with relatives. No obituary. No estate paperwork. Vincent typed rapidly. The aunt exists on paper. But documentation is shallow. Created professional work. So Boris is on Rossi's payroll. Dante's voice was ice. Placed Grigori. Facilitated contamination. Has been feeding information. We bring him in. Marcus stood. No. Elena surprised herself. If we grab him, Rossi knows we found his mole. Goes quiet. But if we feed Boris false information, use him to mislead, we control the narrative, a double agent. Thomas nodded. Risky. If Boris realizes, he warns Rossi. But if it works, Dante watched Elena with new respect. We feed Rossi exactly what we want. Lead him into trap. End this on our terms. It was decided. Boris would remain free. Watched. Fed carefully crafted lies mixed with truth. Elena would continue her audit. Marcus would maintain obvious security. Vincent would monitor all communications. They'd turn Rossi's asset against him. Over 3 weeks, Elena became the bait. She returned to the warehouse daily, asked expected questions, followed leads nowhere, appeared vulnerable, accessible. Marcus shadowed her. Visible protection, but not so tight Boris would suspect. Vincent monitored everything. Boris was communicating, reporting Elena's movements, her patterns, her vulnerabilities. Good. They wanted Rossi to think he had an opening. Elena's training intensified. Marcus pushed harder. Longer sessions. More realistic scenarios. Her shoulder cooperated. Growing stronger. The scar tissue permanent. A reminder, but functional. Week 3 brought an unexpected moment. Marcus was teaching her a particularly complex disarm technique. Twist the wrist, step inside the guard, leverage the attacker's momentum. Simple in theory, nearly impossible in practice. Elena tried, failed, tried again, failed worse. On the 5th attempt, she got so tangled in the movement that her feet crossed. She went down hard, flat on her back, arms twisted awkwardly, one leg somehow hooked around the training dummy, completely ridiculous. She lay there, stunned, then saw Marcus's face. He was trying not to laugh, failing spectacularly. His mouth twitched, his shoulders shook. Then he cracked, started laughing. Real laugh, not the controlled professional chuckle. Deep belly laugh that came from somewhere genuine. And Elena joined him, started giggling, the absurdity of it all hitting her. Here she was, former waitress, learning to fight trained killers. and she'd just been defeated by her own feet. The giggles turned to full laughter. She laughed until tears ran, until her healing shoulder ached, until she couldn't breathe. Dante appeared in the gym doorway, drawn by the unfamiliar sound. He stopped, just watched. Elena on her back on the mat, laughing, really laughing, joy on her face instead of the careful control she usually maintained, light in her eyes instead of the haunted shadow that had lived there since the shooting. Something in his chest cracked open, warmth flooding in. This was what he had been fighting for. Not empire, not power, not legacy. This moment, this woman, this genuine joy, this proof that beauty could exist alongside violence, that laughter could survive bullets. Marcus helped Elena up. She was still laughing, wiping tears, trying to catch her breath. Sorry, she managed between gasps. That was so stupid. That was human. Marcus grinned. Probably the most human thing I've seen in this house in years. Again. Let's try again. But she caught Dante's eye first, saw him watching from the doorway, the intensity in his gaze, the softness. She smiled at him, still slightly breathless from laughter. He smiled back, small, private, just for her. Later that evening, he found her in the library, reading, peaceful. I heard you laugh today. He sat beside her, really laugh. It was the most beautiful sound I've ever heard. Elena set down her book. I forgot I could. After everything, the shooting, the recovery, the danger. I forgot that joy was even possible. Hold on to it. Dante's voice was fierce, urgent. We need joy, especially in darkness. Maybe especially in darkness. That's how we know we're still alive, still human. She leaned against him, finding comfort in his solidity. I'll try. With you. I think I can. And she did. Held on to that moment, that laughter, that proof that she could still find lightness despite the weight. Vincent taught weapons. She'd never touched guns before. Now she could feel strip a Glock, load, aim, fire. Her accuracy improved. She'd never be a shooter, but she could defend herself. And Dante. Evening meetings continued, but something had shifted. The almost moment in his office had created awareness. Tension, not uncomfortable, just present. They were careful not to touch, maintain professional distance, but the air between them hummed with possibility. Week 7, Vincent's monitoring caught it. Boris sent coded message. Rossi was moving, planning to grab Elena, the location, the timing, everything Boris thought was accurate, everything they'd fed him. The trap was set. They chose a Thursday, Elena's routine warehouse visit. She'd arrive at 2 p.m. and inspect the south section. Minimal security presence. Marcus would be visible, but supposedly distracted by a meeting with Boris. Vincent's team would be hidden, watching, waiting. Dante wanted to be there. Elena refused. You're the target. If you show up, Rossi might smell the trap. But if it's just me and Marcus, vulnerable, isolated, he'll move. I don't like using you as bait. Dante's frustration was evident. If something goes wrong, if they get past Marcus, then I handle it. Elena's confidence surprised her. But it was real, earned through 7 weeks of training. I'm not helpless anymore. No. Dante's voice was soft. You're not. When did that happen? When I chose to stay. When I chose this life. This version of me. Elena met his gaze. I'm not the waitress anymore. I'm something else, something stronger. You were always strong. He moved closer. Professional distance evaporating. I just gave you room to show it. The moment stretched, charged, dangerous. Elena should step back, maintain boundaries. But she didn't, couldn't. Dante's hand rose, cupped her face like he had before, but this time she didn't retreat. This time she leaned into the touch. When this is over, his voice was rough, low. When Rossi is handled, when you're safe, I want to have a conversation about us, about what this is becoming. What if I don't survive? Elena tried for humor. Failed. You will. Absolute certainty. Because I'll be watching. Because Marcus won't let anything happen. Because you're too stubborn to die. His thumb brushed her cheekbone. And because I'm not ready to lose you. Not when I just found you. He kissed her. Soft. Brief. A promise more than a claim. When he pulled back, his gaze held questions. She answered with a small nod. Later. They'd explore this later, when the danger passed, if they had time. Thursday arrived with unseasonable warmth. October in Chicago could be unpredictable. Today felt like summer's last breath. Elena dressed carefully. Normal clothes. Nothing tactical. She had to look like an easy target. The wire Vincent insisted on was invisible, sewn into her collar. Marcus would hear everything. So would Vincent's team. The warehouse was busy, normal operations. Workers moving, forklifts beeping. Boris greeted her with his usual dismissive nod, showed her to the south section. Older inventory, dusty, fewer workers, perfect ambush location if you didn't know better. Marcus followed, visible. Then his radio crackled. Planned distraction, Boris calling him away, urgent matter. Marcus hesitated, looked at Elena. She nodded. Permission. He left, reluctant but following script. Elena continued her audit, clipboard in hand, checking serial numbers, playing her role, appearing absorbed, vulnerable, alone. She heard them before she saw them. Footsteps, too coordinated, too purposeful. 4 men, no mask this time. Confident, weapons drawn but lowered. Not shooting, grabbing. Elena Cruz, the leader's voice carried Russian accent. Mr. Rossi wants conversation. Tell Mr. Rossi I'm busy. Elena kept her voice steady, heart hammering but training holding. Marcus, she said it calmly, clearly, into the wire. Code word, now. The leader smiled. Marcus is occupied. You're alone, come quietly. No one gets hurt, I don't think so. Elena set down the clipboard. Face them. 4 against 1. Bad odds, but she'd trained for this. The leader moved first. Fast, grabbed her arm. Elena's training kicked in. She twisted, used his momentum. Pressure point strike to the wrist. He released, surprised. She kicked, aimed for the knee. Connected. He stumbled. The other 3 moved, surrounding. Too many angles. Elena grabbed a metal rod from nearby shelving. Makeshift weapon, she swung, kept them back, bought seconds. Then Marcus appeared, exploding from behind container stack. Not where he should have been. He'd never actually left. Pure theater for Boris. 2 of Rossi's men went down fast. Professional, brutal, efficient. Elena focused on staying alive, using her training. Not winning, surviving. She blocked, dodged, struck when openings appeared. The leader recovered, lunged again, bigger, stronger, but Elena was faster. She ducked under his reach, swept his legs. He fell hard. Vincent's team arrived, 6 operators, military precision. The remaining men were subdued in seconds. Flex cuffs, hoods, dragged to waiting van. Elena stood, breathing hard, adrenaline singing. She'd done it, fought, survived, contributed. Marcus approached, checked her over. You good? I'm good. Elena's hands shook slightly. Voice steady. Did we get them all? All 4, plus Boris, picked up the moment they moved on you. Marcus almost smiled. You did real good. Stayed calm. Used training. I'm impressed. Vincent's voice crackled over comms. Dante's on his way. He's, pause. Not pleased you engaged directly. I'm fine. Elena spoke into her collar. Tell him I'm fine. Tell him yourself. Vincent's voice was amused. He's 2 minutes out. Moving fast. Dante's SUV screeched to a stop. He emerged like a storm, controlled fury and barely contained violence. He crossed to Elena in long strides, grabbed her shoulders. Inspected for injuries. Are you hurt? His voice was tight, dangerous. I'm fine. She covered his hands with hers. Really, not a scratch. Training worked. Everything went according to plan. You engaged. Dante's gaze blazed. 4 armed men. You fought. I survived. Elena held his stare. Like you taught me. Like Marcus trained me. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. The tension bled from him slowly. His hands gentled, slid from her shoulders to frame her face. You could have died. But I didn't. She stepped closer, eliminating distance. I'm here. Safe. We caught Rossi's team. We have Boris. This was victory. Dante pulled her into his arms, careful of her healing shoulder but tight enough to feel real. His face pressed into her hair, breath uneven, heart pounding. "Don't ever scare me like that again," whispered. Raw. "I watched through camera feeds, saw you fight, saw them grab you, couldn't do anything, couldn't help. Worst moments of my life. I'm sorry." Elena's arms wrapped around him. "But I'm okay. We're okay." They stood like that while activity continued around them. Marcus directing cleanup, Vincent coordinating, Boris being loaded into a vehicle. The world moved, they remained still. Finally, Dante pulled back, looked at her. Something in his expression had shifted. The walls he maintained. "Gone. I love you," he said it simply. Fact, not declaration. "I've loved you since you took that bullet. Maybe before. When you looked at me without fear. Just saw me, and still stepped between me and death." His thumb brushed her cheek. "I know it's complicated. I know I'm dangerous. But I love you, and I need you to know that." Elena's breath caught. She should be surprised, should need time. But she wasn't, didn't, because somewhere in the past 7 weeks, she'd fallen too. "I love you too." The words felt right. True, terrifying but true. "I don't know when it happened. Maybe when you respected my choice. Maybe when you pushed me to be stronger. Maybe every evening when you treated me like equal. But it happened, and I'm scared. Because loving you means living in this world. But I'm choosing it. Choosing you." He kissed her. Different from the brief promise before. This was claiming certainty, promise of future. Her arms wrapped around his neck. His hands spanned her waist. They kissed like people who'd been holding back too long. When they parted, Marcus was very obviously not watching. Vincent's voice over comms was carefully neutral. "We should debrief." Dante's voice was rough. "Question the prisoners. Figure out Rossi's next move." "We should." Elena agreed, but didn't move. Later, Dante decided they can wait. The interrogation happened 3 hours later. Boris broke first, confirmed everything, 18 months on Rossi's payroll, had placed Grigori, reported on shipments, schedules, security, promised fortune for delivering Elena. The 4 men were professionals, former military, Russian connections. They confirmed Rossi had put out a contract, $500,000 for Elena. Alive. He wanted to use her, make Dante watch her suffer, then kill them both. Dante's expression throughout remained neutral, but Elena saw the rage, the barely leashed violence. This was the man people feared. "Where's Rossi now?" Dante's question was casual, conversational, terrifying. "Warehouse district." Boris's voice shook. "Shipyard. Warehouse 23. That's his base, where he coordinates." "How many men?" 40, maybe 50. "Best he has. Armed, experienced. He knows you're coming. Expects it. Has prepared." "Good." Dante stood. "I'd hate to disappoint him." The planning took all night. Maps, schematics, assault strategies. Dante's people numbered 30. Elite, loyal, skilled, but outnumbered against 50. The math was bad. Elena watched, learned, offered observations, patterns in Rossi's defensive setup, weaknesses in positioning. Her fresh eyes caught what others missed. "You're not coming." Dante said it firmly when planning was complete. "This is war. You stay here. Safe. Like hell." Elena's response was immediate. "You said partnership equals. That means I'm there. You were not trained for this." "No, I'm an analyst, a strategist. I found the contamination." "Spotted Boris. I see patterns you miss. That's valuable even in battle." She stepped closer. "You're walking into Rossi's stronghold. You need every advantage. I can provide that. If you die." Dante's voice cracked. "If I lose you because I let you come, then you honor my choice." Elena held his gaze. "Like I honored yours when you let me fight in the warehouse. You trusted me then. Trust me now." Silence stretched. Finally, Dante nodded. "You stay in command vehicle with Vincent. You watch screens. You advise. You do not under any circumstances enter that building." "Understood?" "Understood." Elena agreed, knowing she might be lying, knowing circumstances changed, that she'd do what she had to when the moment came. The convoy left at midnight. 6 vehicles, Dante's entire force. They drove south through empty streets, past closed businesses, into the industrial district where broken streetlights created shadow pools, where warehouses crouched like sleeping beasts. Warehouse 23 sat on the water, rusted metal, broken windows, 50 years of neglect. But lights inside, movement. Rossi had fortified. Elena sat in the command vehicle with Vincent. Screens showed feeds from drones, thermal imaging, radio communications. She watched Dante's teams move into position. North, south, east, west was water. Blocked. This is wrong. Elena studied the patterns, the heat signatures. They're too spread out, too exposed. This doesn't feel like defense. It feels like, she stopped. Realization hitting. A trap. This whole thing is a trap. Vincent was already typing, pulling additional surveillance, city cameras, traffic monitoring. His face went pale. There. Trucks, moving toward us from 3 directions. Reinforcements. Rossi's main force wasn't here. They're coming to us. Get Dante out. Elena grabbed radio. Now it's a trap. Warehouse is bait. Real force incoming. 3 minutes. Vincent relayed the warning. Dante's voice crackled back. Calm. All teams, withdraw. Return to vehicles. New targets incoming. The men moved. Trained. Efficient. Reaching vehicles as the first truck arrived. Rossi's reinforcements. 40 men pouring from 3 trucks. Surrounding. Boxing in. Gunfire erupted. Muzzle flashes in darkness. Automatic weapons. Elena watched screens. Track positions. East side is thin. She spoke into radio. Only 8 men. If you break through there, you can flank the main force. Dante's voice. Confirmed. Team 3. East breakthrough. Go. She watched it happen. Team 3 hitting the weak point. Breaking through, circling behind. The advantage shifted, but more trucks arrived. Rossi had planned deep. This wasn't about capturing Elena anymore. This was about ending Dante. We need to leave. Vincent's voice was tight. 3-to-1 odds. If we stay, we die. Elena studied screens, positions, patterns, the warehouse, empty but lit, visible on thermal, and something else. Propane tanks, industrial size, old heating system. Vincent, can you trigger explosion? Remote detonation? She pointed at thermal. Those tanks, if they blow, creates chaos. Distraction, gives us opening. That's massive explosion. Vincent calculated. Anyone nearby dies. Blast radius includes some of our people. Then we pull them back first. Elena grabbed radio. All teams, withdraw east, 200 yards minimum, 30 seconds. Do it now. Dante's voice. Why? What's happening? Trust me. Elena held radio, pleading, commanding. 30 seconds. Please. Beat of silence. Then, all teams, withdraw east, maximum speed. Move. She watched the screens, teams running, vehicles reversing, Rossi's men confused, pursuing. Getting closer to warehouse. Closer to tanks. 20 seconds. 15. 10. Elena looked at Vincent. Do it. He triggered detonation. Screens whited out. Then shockwave hit the command vehicle, rocking it. The sound was apocalypse. Concussion rattled teeth. Heat wave followed. When screens cleared, Warehouse 23 was inferno. Flames reaching toward sky. Rossi's men scattered. Disorganized. Panicked. Now, Elena's voice, while they're confused, hit them. Dante's teams moved. Coordinated. Precise. Caught Rossi's forces from behind. From sides. Pincer movement. It was brutal, quick, efficient. 10 minutes later, it was over. Rossi's forces dead, captured, or fled. Dante's team had casualties. 3 wounded. None dead. Victory. Costly, but decisive. But something nagged Elena. Something wrong. She studied the thermal feeds from before the explosion. Rewound, analyzed. Wait. She grabbed Vincent's arm. The warehouse. Look at the heat signatures before detonation. Vincent pulled up the footage. Studied it. His face went pale. Those aren't all propane tanks. Some are. He enhanced the image. Body heat, multiple signatures. There were people inside. Elena's stomach dropped. Hostages? Or Or Rossi himself. Vincent typed rapidly, cross-referencing with intel. Yes, signal intercepts place Rossi at Warehouse 23 tonight. Command center. He was there. Was. Elena whispered. Past tense. Because she'd ordered the explosion. She'd killed him. Not in combat, not in self-defense. She'd made a tactical decision that ended his life. The weight of it settled like lead. She'd killed. Ordered death. Become exactly what she'd feared becoming. Elena. Dante's voice on radio. Where are you? Command vehicle. Her voice sounded distant. East position. She saw him crossing the battlefield. Limping. Blood on his jacket. He reached her. Grabbed her. Inspected. You're okay. Statement. Needing confirmation. I'm okay. She touched his side. Blood-soaking jacket. You're hurt. Superficial. Grazed. I'm fine. He pulled her close. You saved us. The explosion, you saw what I missed. Saved my team. I killed people. Elena's voice was hollow. Rossi. Others. I gave the order. That's on me. That's on Rossi, Dante corrected gently. He started this war. You ended it. Saved my people. There's difference between murder and survival. Does it get easier? Lena met his gaze. The guilt, no. His honesty was stark, never easier. Day it does is the day you've lost yourself. The guilt is proof you're still human, still moral. Hold on to that. Sirens wailed. Multiple agencies, fire, police, federal. Questions would be asked. We need to leave, Vincent appeared. Before official response. Coordinates with cleanup. You two need to go. Dante nodded, kept arm around Elena. They moved to his SUV, Marcus driving. They pulled away as responders arrived, disappeared into night. In the vehicle, Elena finally let herself feel it. The fear, the crash, the weight. She'd ordered an explosion. Knowing people would die. Had accepted that cost, made that call. You're thinking too loud. Dante's hand found hers. I killed people tonight. Not directly, but I gave the order, triggered explosion. That's on me. That's on Rossi. He chose violence. You ended it. Saved my people. There's difference. They drove in silence. Through streets filling with morning traffic. Chicago waking to Friday. Unaware of war, fought in shadows. At the house, medical staff waited. Treated Dante's wound. Stitched. Bandaged. Declared him lucky. 3 inches different, and he'd have died. After the doctor left, they sat in his study. Dawn painted windows gold. New day. Rossi's war was over. Organization shattered. Men scattered. The threat gone. What now? Elena asked. What do we do in peace? We build. Dante's answer was simple. I keep my promise. Transition the business. Make it legitimate. He took her hand. And we see if this. He gestured between them. If what we feel survives without danger driving it, that sounds terrifying. Elena tried for humor. Failed. It is terrifying, Dante agreed, but also maybe worth it, if you're willing. Elena thought about the woman she'd been 2 months ago. Exhausted, invisible. That woman was gone. This version, forged in violence and choice, had faced impossible odds. I'm willing, she said it firmly. If you are. I am. Dante kissed her. Soft. Promising. We'll figure it out. Partners. Partners. Elena agreed, but something still nagged. Unfinished business. Loose ends that needed tying. Dante. She pulled back. Rossi, we need confirmation. Need to know for certain he's dead. Dante's expression darkened. He pulled out his phone. Typed rapidly. Waited. Finally it buzzed. He read. Looked up. Vincent's team searched the warehouse remains. Found body matching Rossi's description. Badly burned but identifiable. Signet ring. Dental records being confirmed. But, pause, it's him. He's dead. The finality settled. Over. Really over. It's done. Dante set the phone down. War's over. You ended it. Saved countless lives. Mine included. Again. How many times does that make? Elena tried for lightness. Twice you've taken bullets meant for me. Metaphorically this time. But still, Dante's expression was serious. I owe you 2 lives now. That's a debt I can never repay. I don't want repayment, Elena held his gaze. I want partnership, equals. That means we save each other. That's how it works. He pulled her close again. She leaned into him, exhaustion finally winning. They sat like that as sun rose fully. New day, new beginning, new life without constant threat. But there was still work to do. Loose ends to tie, people to notify, a future to build. Sleep first, Dante murmured. Then we handle everything else. Elena nodded. Let him guide her to guest room. She was too tired to make it to her own quarters. He helped her to the bed, removed her shoes, covered her with blanket. Stay. She caught his hand. Don't want to be alone, never alone again. He lay beside her, careful of their injuries, close enough to anchor, far enough to let her breathe. Elena drifted off feeling safer than she had in months, maybe years, maybe ever. When she woke, it was late afternoon. Dante was gone, but there was a note. Business to handle, back by evening. Rest. I love you. She smiled at the last line. Still getting used to that, to being loved, to loving, to having someone who saw her, really saw her. Olivia appeared with food, soup, bread, fruit, and news. Mr. Moretti asked me to inform you. Rossi's death has been confirmed. Dental records matched. The organization is in chaos. No leadership, no coordination. The threat is eliminated. Elena absorbed that. Really over. What about our people? The wounded? All stable, recovering. No fatalities on our side. Olivia's expression was approving. Your warning saved lives. The explosion ended the war decisively. You did well. After Olivia left, Elena sat with that. She'd done well. Saved lives, ended a threat, at the cost of taking lives. The moral complexity would haunt her. But she'd made the choice she could live with, protected people she cared about. That had to be enough. The days that followed were strange, peaceful, quiet. After months of constant threat, the absence of danger felt almost uncomfortable, like waiting for the other shoe to drop. But it didn't drop. Life continued. Healing continued. The transition Dante had promised began in earnest. Week 1 after Rossi's death, Dante restructured operations. Legitimate businesses front and center. Criminal enterprises being phased out. Personnel reassigned. Some chose to leave. Most stayed. Loyal to Dante, believing in the vision. Elena helped. Her analytical skills proved valuable. She spotted inefficiencies, streamlined operations, built systems that actually worked. Her background as a waitress, managing multiple tables, anticipating needs, reading patterns, all of it translated. Week 2, she visited her mother. First time in months seeing her in person. Sarah was there too. Younger sister she hadn't seen since before the shooting. Sarah hugged her tight. Where have you been? I was so worried. They said you were in an accident, but wouldn't tell me anything. I was. Elena kept it vague. Bad accident, long recovery. But I'm okay now. You look different. Sarah studied her. Stronger. Happier. What happened to you? I got a new job. Better pay. Better opportunities. And, she smiled, I met someone. The handsome boyfriend Mom keeps asking about. Sarah grinned. Yeah, him. They visited their mother together. Maria was having a good day. Lucid. Present. She recognized both daughters. Smiled at Elena's ring. That's pretty. Who gave it to you? Someone special. Elena held her mother's hand. He treats you well? Maria's eyes were clear. Sharp. Very well. Better than I thought possible. Good. That's all I want. For my girls to be happy. Maria squeezed her hand. You look happy, mija. Really happy. That's all a mother needs to see. Elena teared up. Had to look away. When she looked back, the clarity had faded. Maria was drifting again. But the moment had been real. Precious. Rare gift of lucidity. Before leaving the facility, Elena stopped at the nurse's station. She'd been wanting to ask about her mother's care plan. The medications, the therapies, old habits from her nursing school days. Michelle, the head nurse, was reviewing charts. She looked up when Elena approached, smiled with genuine warmth. Your mother's doing well, considering. The new medication regimen seems to be slowing the progression. Michelle pulled up Maria's file. Small victories, but victories nonetheless. Elena scanned the chart, her eyes catching details. Dosage adjustments, timing changes, physical therapy schedule. She asked questions. Specific. Technical. Born from knowledge most family members didn't have. Michelle watched her. Thoughtful. You have medical training, I can tell. The way you read charts, the questions you ask, the terminology you use. Elena felt heat creep up her neck. I was in nursing school 2 years before. She gestured vaguely. Life happened. I had to drop out, take care of mom, work, survive. You could go back, Michelle said it gently. No judgment, just possibility. We have bridge programs now for people returning after life interruptions. The medical field needs people who understand caregiving from both sides, professional and personal. Elena looked through the window at her mother, dozing in her chair, peaceful, Sarah sitting beside her. Reading aloud from a magazine Maria probably couldn't follow but seemed to enjoy anyway. I thought about it, Elena admitted. Going back, finishing, becoming the nurse I wanted to be. But now, her hand touched the ruby ring, life went different direction. Different doesn't mean wrong. Michelle's voice was kind, but also challenging. Some healers work with medicine, bandages, and pills, and procedures. Some work with systems, building organizations that help people, creating structures that protect and serve. Both are nursing, both are healing, just different forms. The words settled into Elena's chest, made space there. She'd spent months feeling like she'd abandoned her dream. Let down her younger self who'd wanted so badly to help people, to make difference, to matter. But maybe she was still doing that, just differently than she'd imagined. I'm director of operations now, Elena said it slowly, testing how it sounded. For a security consulting firm, we protect people, build systems that keep them safe, help them when they're vulnerable. She paused. That's nursing too. In its way, that's absolutely nursing. Michelle squeezed her hand. Florence Nightingale didn't just tend wounds. She revolutionized hospital systems, built protocols that saved thousands. You're following in bigger footsteps than you realize. After the visit, after the conversation with Shram, Elena sat in Dante's car. Quiet, processing. What are you thinking, Dante asked, reading her mood. That maybe I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Elena looked at him. I wanted to be nurse, to help people, to heal, and I am. Just not the way 16-year-old me imagined. Better way maybe, bigger impact, building systems instead of treating symptoms. Dante took her hand, the one with both rings, ruby and diamond, protection and promise. You heal me every day. That counts too. It did count, Elena realized. All of it counted, the protection she'd provided, the patterns she'd spotted that saved lives, the organization she was helping build into something legitimate and good, the man beside her who was transforming because she'd seen him, really seen him. Maybe that was the best kind of nursing, seeing people, really seeing them, and helping them become who they were meant to be. Different dream than she'd had, but no less valuable, maybe more. After the visit, Sarah pulled Elena aside. This guy, is he good? Really good? Because you deserve someone who treats you right. He's complicated. Elena chose words carefully. His work is unconventional, but he's good to me, respects me, challenges me, makes me want to be better. And I love him. Then I'm happy for you. Sarah hugged her again. You spent whole life taking care of everyone else. Nice to see someone taking care of you for once. Week 3, Dante took Elena to dinner. Not at home, real restaurant. Public. Statement that the danger had passed. That they could live normal lives again. They went to Cafe Bellissimo. Upscale Italian. Beautiful space. Dante had reservation. Best table. They were treated like royalty. Not because of fear, because of respect. Over dinner, Dante held her hand. Played with her fingers. The ruby ring. I want to take you somewhere, if you're willing. Where? Italy, Lake Como. I have a villa there, private, beautiful. We could spend a week, get away from everything. Just us. Elena's breath caught. That sounds incredible. We leave in 2 weeks if you want. No pressure, but I think we've earned a break. Time to just be. Without war, without danger. Just us. I want that. Elena squeezed his hand, very much. They finished dinner, walked through downtown, hand in hand, like normal couple, like people who weren't marked by violence and danger, like they could be anyone. And maybe they could be, maybe that was the point. They'd fought for the right to normal, to peaceful, to boring, and now they had it. Week 4 brought unexpected news. Dante called Elena to his office. Marcus and Vincent already there. Serious faces. We found something. Vincent pulled up documents in Rossi's files, records of his operations, his contacts, his plans, and this. He highlighted a section. Plans beyond you. Beyond Chicago. He was planning expansion. New territories, new wars. If we hadn't stopped him, this would have been just the beginning. Elena read the documents, felt cold. Rossi had been planning long game. Dante was just first step, first obstacle. If they hadn't ended it, how many would have died? You saved more than my organization. Dante's voice was quiet. You saved hundreds, maybe thousands. You stopped a war before it began. I didn't do it alone. Elena protested. No. But you saw what others missed, made the call others couldn't. That matters. Dante stood, came around the desk. I want you to know what you did. It was right, necessary. Just don't carry guilt for protecting innocent lives. I'll try. Elena meant it, but knew the weight would remain. Permanent companion, cost of the choices she'd made. That night, Dante found her on the rooftop, her thinking spot, where she went when processing. He didn't speak, just stood beside her, solid presence. I keep thinking about them, Elena said finally. The people in the warehouse, the ones who died in the explosion. I didn't know they were there. But does that matter? I still gave the order. It matters, Dante's voice was firm. You made decision based on information you had. In moment, you had to make it. That's all anyone can do. Second guessing with information you didn't have is torture. Don't do that to yourself. How do you live with it? The weight of all the choices you've made. Some days better than others. He was quiet a moment. I remind myself why I made them, who I protected, what I prevented. Doesn't erase the weight, but makes it bearable. They stood in silence, city lights below, stars above, caught between. Finally, Dante spoke. In 2 weeks, we leave for Italy. Leave all this behind for a while. Get away from the weight, from the memories. Just be Elena and Dante, not survivors, not warriors, just two people who found each other. Can you do that, Elena thought? Could she set down the weight, even temporarily? Maybe. Maybe that was growth too. Learning when to carry and when to rest. I can try. She leaned into him. With you, I can try. He wrapped his arm around her. They stayed like that until the cold drove them inside. Until duty called, until life continued. But they had that moment, that peace, that promise of future without constant danger. It wasn't perfect, wasn't clean, wasn't simple, but it was theirs. And that was enough. For now, for today, for this moment, enough. The 2 weeks before Italy passed in blur of activity, Dante wrapping up business, ensuring operations continued in his absence, Elena learning systems, building relationships with staff, becoming truly part of the organization. She was no longer outsider, no longer just the woman who took a bullet. She was Elena, director of operations, partner, Dante's equal. The household staff treated her with respect, not fear, not deference. Genuine respect earned through competence and character. The night before departure, they had dinner with the inner circle. Marcus, Vincent, Thomas, Olivia, family dinner. Celebrating survival, celebrating victory, celebrating future. To new beginnings. Thomas raised his glass. To the woman who saw what we missed. To Elena. They toasted. Elena felt warmth spread through chest. Belonging. She'd never had this. Real family, chosen family, people who had her back. The next morning they left for Italy. Private jet, luxury Elena still wasn't accustomed to. But Dante insisted. You've earned this. Let me spoil you a little. The flight was peaceful. They slept, read, talked, made plans. not about business, about life, about dreams, about the future they were building. Italy was beautiful. Lake Como exceeded expectations. The villa was spectacular. Stone and cypress trees, terrace overlooking water, mountains beyond. Paradise. For a week they were just Elena and Dante. No empire, no danger, no weight. They cooked together, walked, swam, made love, talked for hours, rediscovered simple joy. One afternoon, Elena walked to the village market alone. Dante had business calls. She welcomed the solitude, the chance to just be. No roles, no responsibilities, just a woman buying vegetables for dinner. The market was alive with color and sound, vendors calling out prices, old women examining tomatoes with critical eyes, children weaving between stalls. Life in its most ordinary, beautiful form. Elena stopped at a produce stand, studied the eggplants, trying to remember which ones Dante preferred for the dish they were making. An old Italian woman appeared beside her, weathered face, kind eyes. She picked up an eggplant, held it to the light, examined it with the expertise of decades, then handed it to Elena, spoke in rapid Italian, smiled warmly. Elena didn't understand the words, but understood the gesture, the kindness, the connection. This woman saw her, really saw her, not as tourist, not as outsider, just as another woman shopping for dinner, human to human, equal to equal. Grazie, Elena managed. Molte grazie. The woman patted her hand, smiled wider, said something else, warm, approving, then moved on to examine the peppers. Such a small moment, but it cracked something open in Elena's chest. That evening, cooking together in the villa kitchen, she told Dante about it. I spent my whole life invisible. She chopped onions, careful, methodical. People looked through me. I was just the waitress, just the help, just background noise in their important lives. I learned to make myself smaller, quieter, less, so they'd be comfortable. And now Dante was at the stove, watching oil heat. Now I'm seen, really seen. By you, by Marcus, by Vincent and Thomas and Olivia, by that woman in the market who didn't know my name but saw me anyway. Elena paused, set down the knife. It's terrifying, being visible, being known. Having people actually look at you and see you. Not what they want to see, not what's convenient, but really you. Why terrifying? Dante turned from the stove. Genuine curiosity. Because visible means vulnerable. Elena met his eyes. When you're invisible, you can't be hurt, can't be rejected, can't fail because no one expects anything. But when you're seen, when people know you, you can disappoint them, let them down, be less than they hoped. Dante crossed to her, cupped her face gently. Elena, being invisible wasn't safety, it was prison. You just didn't know you were in prison until someone opened the door. You opened the door. Her voice was soft, raw. No. He shook his head. You opened your own door when you stepped in front of that bullet, when you chose the black folder, when you fought those men in the warehouse. Every time you chose courage over safety, you opened the door. I just reminded you it was there, that you had the key all along. Elena felt tears prick, blinked them back. We opened it together. That feels more true. Everything we've done together. Neither of us could have done it alone. Dante kissed her forehead, together. He agreed, always together. They returned to cooking, but the conversation lingered. The weight of it, the truth of it. Elena had spent 36 years invisible, learning to disappear, to not take up space, to not be burden. Now she was learning different way, to be seen, to be known, to take up space unapologetically, to be burdened sometimes because that's what people who love you carry. Gladly, willingly. It was terrifying. Like Dante said, but it was also freedom. Real freedom. Not the false safety of invisibility, but the dangerous, beautiful freedom of being fully yourself, fully present, fully alive. And she was never going back. On their last night, they sat on the terrace, wine in hand, stars overhead, lake reflecting moonlight. I could stay here forever. Elena leaned against Dante. Never go back. We could, his voice was thoughtful. Sell everything. Live simply. Just us. Could we really? Elena looked up. Could you walk away from everything you built? Dante considered. Honestly? Probably not, but knowing I could. That's freedom. Real freedom. Not being trapped by obligation, by fear, by anything except choice. I love you. Elena said it suddenly, fiercely. Not because you saved me, not because you gave me new life, because you, the man who wanted to be architect, who cooks pasta at midnight, who looks at me like I'm precious. That man, I love him. I love you too. Dante kissed her, soft, sweet, not urgent, just connected. The woman who took a bullet for stranger, who sees patterns no one else sees, who challenges me to be better. That woman, I love her. They sat in peaceful silence, content, complete. Tomorrow they'd return to Chicago, to work, to building legitimate empire, to all the complications of real life. But tonight they had this perfect moment, perfect peace. Sometimes that's all you need. One perfect moment to anchor against chaos. One moment of pure joy to remind you why you fight. One moment of love to make everything worth it. Elena had found hers, and she was never letting go. The morning they left Italy, Elena stood on the terrace one last time, committing it to memory, the view, the peace, the feeling of possibility. Dante found her there, ready as I'll ever be. She took his hand. Let's go home. Home, not her old apartment, not even the medical wing where she'd recovered. Home was wherever Dante was, wherever their life was building. That was home now. The flight back was quieter, contemplative, both processing, preparing for return to reality. When they landed in Chicago, Marcus met them. Update on operations. Everything stable. Thriving even. The transition was working. They drove back to the house, Elena's house now too. They'd made it official while in Italy. She'd moved from guest quarters to Dante's wing. Sharing space. Sharing life. Partners in every sense. That evening, Olivia called meeting. Something in her tone made Elena nervous. Everyone assembled in Dante's office. The core team, faces serious. What's wrong? Dante asked. Nothing's wrong, Olivia smiled. Actually, something's very right. She pulled out documents. While you were gone, I finalized some things. The last of the criminal enterprises have been dissolved, sold, shut down. As of today, Moretti operations are 100% legitimate. The room erupted. Celebration, backslapping, hugs, years of planning, years of work, complete. Dante looked at Elena. We did it, really did it. No more looking over shoulders, no more violence. Clean. Elena felt tears prick. They'd succeeded, built something worth having, something they could be proud of. But Olivia wasn't finished. There's more. She handed Dante another folder. I took liberty while you were gone. Submitted application on your behalf. For architectural license. You have enough credits from college, just needed to file paperwork. Exam is scheduled for next month. If you want it. Dante stared at folder, speechless. His dream. The path he'd wanted before life chose different direction. Architecture, creating instead of destroying. You remembered. His voice was rough. I told you once, years ago, and you remembered. I remember everything. Olivia's smile was warm. You're free now, free to choose, free to become who you were meant to be. Dante looked at Elena. Is this real? Can I actually do this? You can do anything. Elena took his hand. You've proven that. You transformed empire, changed your life, your world. Take an exam? That's easy compared to what you've already done. He pulled her close, kissed her forehead. Thank you for believing in me, for seeing me, for everything. The celebration continued late. Joy, relief, hope. The team had done impossible, changed unchangeable, built legitimate future from criminal past. Finally, everyone left. Just Elena and Dante remained. In his office, their office now. She had desk, computer, space, real partnership. One more thing, Dante said. Before we sleep, he pulled out small box, opened it. Inside was ring, not ruby, Diamond, simple, elegant, perfect. I know it's fast. I know we've only known each other a few months, but those months have been more real than anything else in my life. Dante took the ring. Elena Maria Cruz, will you marry me? Not now, not tomorrow, but someday. When you're ready, will you? Elena's hand shook. Yes, the word came easy. Natural, yes, someday. When we're ready, yes. He slipped ring on her finger, left hand this time. Next to Ruby, promise and claim together. They kissed, deep, certain, anchoring. When they finally pulled apart, Elena laughed, surprising herself. What? Dante smiled. I was just thinking. 2 months ago, I was waitress drowning in debt. Now I'm engaged to former mafia boss turned legitimate businessman, wearing 2 rings that together cost more than I made in a year. It's insane. It's perfect, Dante corrected. It's exactly what was supposed to happen. You were supposed to walk into that restaurant, supposed to see me, supposed to save me, and I was supposed to fall in love with you. All of it. Supposed to happen. You really believe that? Fate, I believe in you. Whatever brought us together, I'm grateful. They went to bed. Their bed, shared space, shared life, wrapped in each other, safe, loved, complete. As Elena drifted to sleep, she thought about journey, about Kimmy's, about choices made. She'd taken bullet, nearly died, killed, made impossible decisions, carried weight would never fully lift. But she'd also found love, found family, found purpose, found herself. The woman who'd served coffee and taken orders was gone. In her place was someone stronger, braver, more whole. Elena Maria Cruz, director of operations, partner, fiancé, survivor. She'd save stranger and change her life forever, and she wouldn't trade it for anything. Not for all the easy paths, all the safe choices, all the what-ifs. This path, dangerous and difficult and scarred, this path was hers, and it led exactly where she was meant to be. Home. 6 months later. A scene, Cafe Romano grand reopening. Elena stood outside Cafe Romano, rebuilt, reborn, the same address but everything new. Fresh paint, new windows, same soul. Dante's hand found hers. Ready? They'd funded the rebuild. Anonymous donation through shell company. Marco had objected. Too sentimental, too risky. Dante overruled him. The place where everything changed deserves to exist, he'd said. Inside, the layout was identical. Same booth placements, same bar. But table 15, their booth, had small bronze plaque. Here, a stranger became family. A bullet became love. Death became life. Elena traced the letters, felt tears prick. Too much? Dante asked softly. Perfect, she whispered. They ordered risotto. Barolo, same meal, different world. The waitress who served them was young, eager, reminded Elena of herself years ago. What's your name? Elena asked gently. Maria, ma'am. Work hard here, Maria. Learn everything. You never know where it might lead. The girl smiled, nodded, disappeared. You're mentoring waitresses now? Dante's eyes crinkled. Someone should tell them they're not invisible, that they matter. After dinner, they walked to the spot, the exact spot Elena had fallen, where her blood had stained tile. All clean now, erased. But she remembered. Do you regret it? Dante asked. Taking that bullet, everything that followed. Elena looked at him, at the life they'd built, at the ring on her finger. Not for a second. He kissed her, long, deep, claiming, in the middle of the restaurant, let people see, let them know. This was love. Hard-won, blood-bought, real. Scene, rooftop anniversary. That night, their rooftop. Chicago glittering below. 6 months since Rossi. 6 months of peace. Olivia says my exam results came back, Dante said. I passed. Licensed architect. Officially. Elena threw her arms around him. I'm so proud of you. 40 years old. Starting new career. Most people would say I'm crazy. Most people are boring. Elena pulled back. Looked at him. You're extraordinary. You changed everything. Empire, life, yourself, take an exam, that's just next step. I want to design something, he said suddenly. Something that matters. Community center, maybe. Youth program. Give kids options I never had. Do it. Elena's voice was fierce. Build something beautiful. That's who you are now. They sat, wine in hand, stars overhead. Thank you, Dante said quietly, for seeing me, for saving me, for choosing me. You saved me too, Elena reminded him. We saved each other. That's how partnership works. The city hummed below. Their city, their life, their future. Imperfect, scarred, real, and absolutely perfect.